You feel as though you're being watched. Pins and needles rise on your skin as you realize that you're no longer alone. You may feel a crawling sensation somewhere, something with a lot of eyes and a lot of legs. You feign to look, but slowly you realize that there was nothing there at all. This is just a brief description meant to show that we all have the capability of coming up with things that are just from our own heads. But this can also happen on a mass scale. This is where we come to the concept of mass hysteria, a widespread psychogenic illness, meaning from our psychology and our physiology. This happens when people undergoing great amounts of stress experience symptoms and behaviors that have no discernible cause. Being cognizant of our stress responses is important for understanding how much stress can affect the body and also, in turn, affect other people. Mass hysteria is a phenomenon that has a profound effect on individuals in a society. Today, I will be talking about 3 points. The first being the Tanganyika laughing epidemic of 1962, the second being the Salem witch trials of 1692, and the third being the dancing plague of 1518. So let's get started with my first point, the Tanganyika laughing epidemic of 1962. According to Simone Sebastian, she explains how the event started. A group of girls in a boarding school in Tanganyika started uncontrollably laughing. Soon, however, this would spread rapid fire throughout the school, and eventually the entire school was laughing. Students also reported other symptoms such as pain, respiratory problems, and some were even seen uncontrollably crying. This was so serious that the school was closed down, and that was so serious that 14 neighboring schools closed down for the same issue. It was widely believed that this was caused due to Tanganyika's independence at the time, which is now modern-day Tasmania. This caused a lot of increased academic pressures on a lot of the students. I'm sure that we can all relate to that due to the beginning of the pandemic, where we all had to switch to online. When expectations change, it can be a major stressor. Now, onto my second point, the Salem witch trials of 1692. According to Richard Latner, he explains how a group of girls in Salem started experiencing strange symptoms. They would have convulsions, seizures, and they would even scream out. Little did they know that this would cause the jailings of 162 people and the hangings 19 over the course of a year. I had to read The Crucible when I was in high school, and it goes into why this event happened. It was widely believed that the hysteria was caused due to personal strife between people in the town due to land disputes, and it was also caused due to political issues during the Puritans' reign, where the marriage between church and state was very rigorous, and there was a lot of increased expectations on the people that resided there. I've talked about the Tanganyika laughing epidemic and the Salem witch trials, and now I'll go on to my third and final point, the dancing plague of 1518. According to John Waller, there was a woman who started dancing in Strasbourg, France. Eventually, around 400 people started to join in. Over the course of 2 months, people uncontrollably danced, and many died due to the factors of cardiac arrest and heat stroke. This was during the middle of summer at the time. People dancing also experienced other symptoms, such as screaming out in pain and delusions and hallucinations. It was widely believed that this event was caused due to a lot of illness at the time. There was an onslaught of syphilis and leprosy and the plague, and there was also inflation at the time due to high grain prices. This is something that we also experience still today. There's a lot of parallels, such as the increase in food security that we're all experiencing right now and the difficulty to get aid. In conclusion, mass hysteria is a phenomenon that has a profound effect on individuals and society. Today, I've talked about 3 points. The first being the Tanganyika laughing epidemic with the laughter of hundreds of children. The second being the Salem witch trials with the jailings of 162 people and the deaths of 19. And the third being the laughing plague of 1518, being the dancing of around 400 people and the deaths of around 100. These are all examples of mass hysteria. Though we may still convince ourselves from time to time that a stray hair might be a spider on our arm, we can also be cognizant of our stress response in order to build better communities and to avoid these sorts of tragedies.